Hello and welcome to my Flosstube number 45. My name is Esther and I'm SpeedyXStitcher on Instagram. I have now been doing Flosstube on off for more than 4 years. On the 9th of January 2021 I made my first Flosstube. I just found out. So that's quite amazing. I've been doing this for 4 years. Well, what do I have to show you today? I do have some projects. I haven't been stitching as much as I would usually do because I have seriously taken up knitting. I will not show you anything I knitted except for this one. This is a Sophie scarf by Petit Knit. That's a Danish company, maybe you know it. And speaking about Danish, if you don't already know, I'm from Denmark. I live in Denmark. I work as a teacher. I teach English, German, as well as history at a local private school. Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, and I live in this house of mine with 4 cats. And I think I told you that in, I think it was October or November, one of my cats had quite a lot of epileptic seizures, so now he's on medication for the rest of his life. In the beginning, I had to give him a pill every 24 hours, so I could hardly leave my house, because every night at 6:30 p.m. I had to give him a pill. It's a bit easier now because now he only needs a pill every 36 hours, but that's the way it's going to be for the rest of his life, which means that I cannot go away from home for more than 24 hours, and that's okay with me. I love staying at home anyway. But I mentioned in Flosstube number 44, I think, that I did have some plans. In 2026 I'm turning 60, and my birthday present for myself would be to go to a retreat, probably in the UK. Depending on if I still have, I hope I still have Quintus at that time, but maybe I have to postpone that one because, yeah, that's just the way it is. So enough about private life, let's get to the stitching. So my new schedule for making English Flosstubes are that I will try to make a monthly update. We are now on the 8th of February. That means what I'm going to show you today is what I have been stitching in January and the first week of February. I forgot to count how many days I have been stitching altogether since January 1st, but I did stitch 14,298 stitches. The first project I want to show you, it's an FFO. It looks like this. It's one of my own patterns. I saw this meme as a meme and I found it hilarious, so I made a pattern of it and I stitched it, and yeah, as you can see, I finished it. It's on printed fabric. I will write down here what it's called because I will write the information down here because I forgot it. Yeah, and the threads are some, you know what, I thought I was prepared today. Apparently I'm not. All information about the project I will write down in the description box. I will not put it in here because that actually does take a lot longer time. So I will put all information about the projects in the description box. Okay, so you can find it there. But anyway, this was the first one, and I made it into this pillow because I like these pillows with a shape like this. Okay, let's move on. I have stitched on my first HAED, the quarantine cats. I only stitched 157 stitches, so it's not that big difference, but I thought that maybe I should get back to it. So it looks like this. And I've been working over here because I told myself that I have to fill out everything here before I'm allowed to move any further. So that might take a while because this is really boring to stitch because everything is confetti. But that's just the way it is. And it's on 18 count Aida. Let's see. I have another finish. It's a small finish. I think it's a tiny modernist who made it in one of these magazines. I just call it Spooky. I'm going to turn it into a very little pillow for decoration for Halloween. Yeah, I stitched it. I don't remember if I told you, but I'm not allowed to buy any floss or yarn for that matter in all of 2025 because I want to use some of all my fancy flosses, because usually when I buy a new project I always tend to kit it up with DMC. So now I'm trying to find little projects like this one and then just replace the colors. And this one I replaced with Classic Colorworks with the color Persimmon as well as Mana Red. So these were the two colors I chose for this project. And I think it worked out all right. I still have room here for another word. I just need to find a font to make the pattern first. One of my whip goals for February is actually to design a pattern. So I think I'm going to design the word haunted or spooky. No, so spooky is here. Probably haunted. Well, we'll see about that. The next one is the Winter Sampler by Tiny Modernist. That was one of my January whip goals. I had to stitch 500 stitches on it. I worked on it for one day and I did 540 stitches. So now it looks like this. I stitched here. I finished up here and then I began down here. And I think it's turning out all right. Yeah. Not much else to say about it. Then I had a new start. That was kind of a funny new start. A fun new start because it's a Patreon pattern from the Witchy Stitcher. It's called The Golden Girls. The Golden Girls, the TV sitcom from the 80s. I never saw it. I had no idea why people thought that this pattern was so great. I mean, I liked the pattern, but since I did not know the sitcom, oh well, I would probably not stitch it. And then I don't know how it came about, but then I noticed that, I mean, I don't have any, I stopped buying TV channels, so that means I cannot watch TV. it's okay, because it's a lot of money for something that I don't use, because I usually just watch YouTube or listen to audiobooks. So, but I do have Disney Plus, and accidentally I noticed that they have the full series of the Golden Girls. So I started watching it, and now I'm way into season 4, I think it is. And of course I had to start that pattern now, because now I know what that pattern means. So it's recommended to stitch on black Aida, and I am stitching it on black Aida. I'm stitching it on 16 count. It was the brand of the Aida is Fabric Flare. Never heard of it before. It was, they had a sale on Casa Chinina, and I think I got it for €5 or something like that. It was very cheap. I mean, the piece is this big, so it's a pretty big one. But anyway, I'm not that far with this project yet. I worked on it for 2 days and did 825 stitches. But here's where I am at. So the first goal is Blanche. I will put up a photo so you can see the full pattern. And yeah, I like stitching on it, and it's not that hard to stitch on. I found out that it's not that hard to stitch on black Aida if it's 16 count. I don't have any 14 count, but 18 count it's too hard to find the holes, but 16 count seems like that's a good choice when I want to stitch on black. So my next one is my Nora Corbett, the conservatory. So this is not Mirabilia, it's just Nora Corbett, and I love the way it looks. Have been working on it for 3 days and did 1116 stitches, and I think it looks beautiful. It looks like this, and the fabric is some even weave. I dyed myself. It should be on completely gray even weave, so I did buy some light gray even weave, and then I dyed it with some darker gray. Actually, I think I used black, but not for a very long time, and I think it looks absolutely amazing. And this is the first time I'm using water lilies, and boy is that a lovely silks, but very pricey, I must say. But I love stitching on this one, and that's the most important thing, right? And I'm pretty sure that eventually I'm going to stitch some of these houses as well. Maybe not all of them, but I do like the first one here especially. I think it's very beautiful, and that's called the Gothic House. I might do all of them. As you know, I'm not into the fancy ladies, but I do like to have a project with all these beads in it as well. And this one has even more beads than the Christmas tree. Yeah, and then a fully finished object. It looks like this. This is just for now. I'm going to find a nicer looking band for it, but so far I'm just using this. As I said, I have begun stitching, not stitching, knitting Oh, hello, Felix. Uh-oh. What now? What do you want? And my favorite needles are Knit Pro. And I decided to make the logo of Knit Pro like this. And then all my Knit Pro needles, and almost all of them are in here. I don't know what you call these, but all these looking like this in different sizes, they are in this bag, so I know where they are. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough Star Wars fabric to make this one bigger to bend down, but never mind. It's okay. Every second Thursday I go to a town about 10 kilometers from here where there's a yarn shop, and every second Thursday you just go there and sit and knit for 2 hours, and you can get help. And the other second Thursday there's a little theme. Last time it was how to knit with beads. So anyways, I bring this along always so I can, and now the reason why I go there is because I do like to knit, but it's very hard for me to find out how to follow a pattern or whatever you call it in English. And now I can get the help. It's way more fun to knit. And sometimes at evening my eyes are just too tired to stitch. So anyway, I got 3 more projects to show you. The next one is my video game sampler. I haven't been stitching on that one for quite some time, and now my plan is to actually finish it this year. I worked on it for 5 days and I did 2,255 stitches. So as you can see, I did stitch quite a lot on it. And it looks like this now. So I'm getting there. As you can see on the photo of the project, I'm not missing that much. And I love the way this floss looks. It's called Avatar. It's silks from Miss Usidas, and it's, wow, it's so beautiful. I think I'm going to frame it when it's done, even though I do start getting problems to where to put my stitching when I frame it, but I will find out. Then the Sewing Cats by Solar Stitch Design. I worked on that one for 4 days, and I did a lot of back stitching and 2,505 stitches. That was one of my January whip go goals as well. And now it looks like this. Let me see, yeah, you can see it. So I finally finished the first 2 rows or shelves and have begun on the 3rd shelf. I began stitching on this one in 21, so it's in its 4th year. It's crazy that some of my projects I finished the same year. A lot of the projects, especially the smaller ones, but actually also a lot of projects with about 20,000 stitches, I do finish the same year where I started. And then there are projects like this one that are just forever whips, as well as the the video game sampler, and I don't know what it is, because when I do stitch on it, I love stitching on it. So I don't know what it is. But you know, when you have approximately about 60 projects, there will always be some projects that you fancy more than others, right? The last project is a finished one, a fully finished one. I showed you in my whip parade this one, and told you how annoyed I was with the fabric and that it was no fun stitching it. So eventually as you can see, I abandoned it, and then I did a restart, and I restarted it on 14 count, and I love the way it looks now. I'm sorry that it doesn't have museum glass, but I think it's so beautiful. And I put it up on the wall right behind my computer screen, because I have a stationary computer, and every time I sit by my computer I look at it, and yeah, I really love it. Yeah. The last thing is that even though I'm not allowed to buy yarn or floss, I am allowed to buy other stuff. And apart from something for knitting, I did buy a new pattern. This one is called the Halloween Candy Shop by I think Nora Corbett patterns on Etsy. It's a huge one. It has about 25,000 stitches. I don't know when I'm going to stitch it, but eventually I will. And actually I do have 2 more things to talk to you about, but I forgot to bring one of them here. Just a moment. So the first thing is that yesterday I went to a pre-opening of an exhibition at a cultural heritage museum. They very often have exhibitions about handicrafts, and I think I mentioned her before, that one of the more famous stitchers in Denmark, called Broderist, she stitches a lot of subversive stuff. She doesn't like the cute stuff. Anyway, I think I did show you that I was taking part of a joint stitching project, where you got a little kit with one color of DMC and pink fabric, 14 count, and then you should make your own pattern, 8 by 8 centimeters, and the deadline was November 1st, I think. And the theme of the pattern had to be either pigs or laughing. And 360 stitches participated. Well, as you can hear, I participated with 2, and there were others who also participated with 2. But I think you could at least say that 320, I think yesterday they said 320 participated or something like that. And that has all those little stitch pieces have been put together to one huge project. Before I show it to you, I'm going to show you a picture of, I tried to look it up in the dictionary, and it's called Cumberland sausage. I'm not sure that's correct. So this is this is a broderist who has stitched this picture of the sausage before it has been cooked. And that's also stuff she stitches, typical Danish foods. This is a very typical Danish sausage, and you can eat it all year around, but very often you eat it in December around Christmas time as well. Here is a picture of how it looks when it's ready to be eaten, and it's actually a quite delicious sausage. So now you know how. Please remember how the picture of the stitched piece looked, because that's the way she intended for all the stitching to look. So I'm going to put it into the full screen. I'm going to put in a video. So, and after that a photo of mostly all of it. So have fun. I hope you enjoyed watching that. It was great to go to an exhibition where I did those two. And I'm going to put up a photo now, and where you can see where my two projects are. These are my odds from 2024. I still need to put a label on saying the year, but I do have the whole year for that. Last year I made a picture frame. This year I had this glass that I like the shape of, and I thought, I think all my odds can fit into it. I'm not sure I'm going to keep all the odds from every year. unless, I mean, I don't want to display them the same way every year. So now I have a frame for 23 and this glass for 24. So do you have any ideas how I could display the orts from 25? There might be less orts than usual because I'm knitting as well. Okay, last thing. I had Happy Mail. You might know that I also make a Danish Flosstube, where I also talk about knitting. And one of those who had watched it asked me, what if I would like to send you something? So anyway, she did send me something. It's from Permin. It's quite cute. It looks like this. So sometimes all you can do is just hang on. I'm not going to take it out, but as you can see, it's a full kit. It's on 14 count, ecru, I think it's the color of this, and then you have the threads. You do know what I think about kits, right? So I have decided that I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to put the pattern into WinStitch and convert it so it will be Pattern Keeper compatible, because otherwise I will not stitch it. And luckily there's not that much backstitching. There's a bit backstitching on the bear. What was I going to say? Yeah, I will make the Pattern Keeper compatible. Then I will find some hand-dyed fabric and I might change the colors. Not on the bear, but I will not use these colors. But I will find some other colors, some of my fancy floss for the letters. And so they might not be variegated the way it's here, but since I'm going to stitch it with variegated floss, I think the effect will be kind of similar. So yeah, because when I have stitched it, then I will still have the kit and I can put it up for a giveaway, probably on my Danish Flosstube, because you cannot imagine how expensive it is to send anything out of the country now. It's insane. A couple of months ago, I sent a pattern to an American Flosstuber. We are talking about 2 pieces of paper. The cheapest way to send them to her was 50 Danish kroner. That's way, way too expensive. And also it's not that cheap to send in Denmark. So when I do make giveaways on my Danish Flosstube, people have to send me the money for the postage beforehand. And that's pretty common on Danish Flosstubes, or actually they're called podcasts in Danish. So, well, that was it for now. I hope you enjoyed what you saw, and I hope you will subscribe if you don't already subscribe. I would love to finally reach 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I'm not sure that's going to happen, but I can always hope, right? So I think that's about it. So once again, thank you for watching. And my next Flosstube will be in the beginning of March. That's my plan, where I will show you how much I achieved of stitching in February. So take care. Bye.